The biggest news of the week, arguably, more than anything else here, has been the shit going on with Unity. Whether cried for by Operation Ivy or Queen Latifah, one thing is for certain, it has never been a bad idea until now. Arguably the biggest news of the past week, the company behind the cross-platform game engine Unity announced a new pricing model, and people really don't like it. Now, is it truly as disastrous as everyone says? 100%. There's no hot take here. This is dumb as hell. Let's get into it. If you don't know Unity, then you probably haven't been paying close attention when you boot up a game. Unity powers everything from Subnautica to Cuphead to Beat Saber to even Pokemon Go, making them partially responsible for that time you hit a parked car trying to catch a shiny Kakuna. Suddenly hardened as it seems pretty useful, huh? Essentially, if the developer isn't fawning over Unreal 5 or dumping millions of dollars in their own engine, they're using this one. And it appears Unity knows it because they're acting with all the hubris of a high school quarterback that won the big game, and in turn, are making the worst decisions, like a high school quarterback at the kegger after they won the big game. In an out-of-the-blue blog post detailing their new plan, a Unity representative stated the following: "We are introducing a Unity runtime fee that is based upon each time a qualifying game is downloaded by the end user." Basically, instead of the developer paying a revenue share every time the game is purchased, they are paying a fee every time the game is downloaded and installed. So you might be thinking, that's fine if someone buys the game and doesn't install it, then the developer is off the hook. Then you have too much faith in the gaming community, and I wish I lived in the utopia you believe the internet to be. First of all, the system completely undermines subscription-based models like Game Pass, as well as free demos, charity bundles, and even something as simple as like a Steam sale. A strict pay-per-download de-incentivizes these options, as it guarantees that the developer or publisher losing a higher percentage on these deals. So it's not financially feasible for them, and we're stuck with less sales. Secondly, I'll be honest, gamers are petty. There's a whole subsection of the community that will review bomb a game because they alluded to a queer couple, or Peter Molyneux used up all the toilet paper at TGS once. Hell, I got my money back from EA, and I still released a video about how Jedi Survivor ran like a Ray Harryhausen film. If you don't think gamers will hate download the next Street Fighter because Chun-Li's thighs are too small, then you're fooling yourself. It's also a lot harder to plan ahead with this model. Look, download numbers are already hard to track, which means developers would have to start collecting player information and or implementing DRM tools, both of which consumers have been complaining about for years. Hell, even the innocent act of deleting a game to make space on your Steam Deck, then re-downloading it later, means the dev has to pay the fee twice despite the customer paying for it once. And what about free-to-play games? Games like Overwatch 2, Call of Duty Warzone, or Hearthstone. These pay-to-win model with a toxic fan bases that might disappear forever. And now that I'm saying it out loud, that's not the worst thing. But these kind of moves hurt small developers the most. We're already scraping together with minimal teams and are the most vulnerable to mass hate installs or piracy. Now, I got to be fair, Unity did come back with some clarification after the fact. Apparently, the fee only applies to monetized titles, damn, as well as titles that hit a certain install threshold, and that charity games and bundles are excluded from fees. That said, the fact that these clarifications came after the initial backlash isn't really instilling the community with confidence. It's like when my wife reminds me to take out the trash when I'm about to leave the apartment, and I'm like, oh, I know, I remembered, I'm just testing the doorknob first. This was all so last minute in the first place, giving devs no time to react, making it hard to give Unity the benefit of the doubt. Even the business world is looking at the decision and shaking their head as Unity stock prices dipped after the announcement. Now, look, if our story ended there, Dainu, it would be enough. Another company does a shitty thing. Let's not forget, Bobby Kotick still has a job after all, and however, much like Goatsy, Unity is truly stretching what it means to be an asshole. Shortly after the post went live, Unity eliminated one of their pricing tiers, automatically switching all Unity Plus members to Unity Pro next month. One dev shared their numbers and it showed a $3,300 price difference for their small 2-person team, which is a lot when you aren't expecting it and still working out of a spare room in your apartment. Also, that dip I mentioned earlier, well, apparently Unity execs saw that coming, as several of them sold their shares shortly before this happened. This includes Unity CEO and uncle who smoked too much weed at the family reunion, John Riccitello, who sold 2,000 shares in just 6 days before the announcement. This is the same guy who just last year said to developers that don't focus on microtransactions are the biggest fucking idiots. And I quote, "Really, John? So where does that leave asshats that alienate their customer base and look like the villain from a Hallmark film? Also, where does that leave us now?" Well, Unity did issue an apology this very morning on X, stating that they are looking to make changes to the policy. Seems needed as the backlash was having major repercussions on the product. Some developers are asking their fan base to not download their games. Others are delaying future releases like Rust 2 as they switch over to another engine. Developers of huge hits like Among Us and Cult of the Lamb are even threatening to delist their games from the marketplace so they don't get hit with a huge bill they can't pay, which I'm sure the console makers are just going to love. Hell, honestly, even Cult of the Lamb, when they said it, they've openly admitted recently that they were just making a joke. But the effect it had and the stance they took still stands. While they might not be serious, there are probably plenty others that are. And when those console makers get to handle that, when Game Pass and the eShop see games getting taken down, games that sell well, they're not going to be happy either. And that's going to add a whole new wrinkle to this whole thing. Meanwhile, Unity has had to cancel an all-hands meeting and had shut down 2 offices due to credible death threats, which, come on. I'm also pissed that this means Hollow Knight Silksong won't release until I have grandkids, but that's a bridge too far. In the end, no one comes out of this like a winner in this decision. Except for Unreal, who gets to walk in the whole thing like it's like Sony in 1995.
$2.99.
Guys, stick around. We're going to take a quick break while I go and pee, refill some water. We come back, we are absolutely taking a trip to the trailer park